Hi, everybody. I'm Chianne Michaels, and this is the Fans View Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fans View Podcast. Today, we're talking to a multi-talented personality in the wrestling business. She's known for her work as a ring announcer, a multifaceted on-screen performer, and just a rising presence across independent wrestling. From commanding the mic in front of a live audience to being part of storylines and just building her personal brand, today's guest is carving out her own lane in the industry. Please welcome to the show, Miss Chianne Michaels. Chianne, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so glad that we could get you to carve out a little time in your crazy schedule for the Fans View.
Of course, always.
For people who might not be in the Southeast or might not be very familiar with you, and maybe they're discovering you for the first time right here on the episode, how do you describe who Chianne Michaels is, both in and out of the ring?
Chianne Michaels is the person I always wanted to be growing up. She's the outgoing, fun, sometimes quiet and shy, which is how I normally am. But she's who I always wanted to be. And I live vicariously through her.
I can appreciate that. Were you a wrestling fan growing up, like as a small child, or was that something you kind of grew into?
Yeah, so I went to my first wrestling show when I was 9 years old, just around town. Before that, I grew up watching WWE on TV with my dad every Monday or whenever the heck it would come on. I don't know. I was a kid. I don't know what I was watching. I was watching wrestling. Um, no, but me and my dad, we always have had the love for it. It's something we shared.
That's awesome. That's super cool. What first made you want to make that jump? Like, okay, I like watching wrestling. There's obviously it's a $1 billion company. Plenty of people like watching wrestling. You wanted to be a part of the wrestling world. Where did that come from?
Let's see. I would say I was about 12. And I looked at my dad and I was like, I'm gonna be a part of this business. And he just kind of laughed at me. Then when I was 16, my dad owns a tattoo shop here in town. When I was 16, he put on a anniversary. It was our 10-year anniversary of being open. He put on a wrestling show in the parking lot, and I told him
Love
I
it.
was gonna ring announce it so that we didn't have to pay for a ring announcer or do anything like that. It just so happened that there was somebody in the crowd who was running his own promotion and needed a ring announcer, and he thought I did great. So from then on, at 16 years old, I was like, I was in. I didn't
I
even know
love
I
it.
was going to be in, but I was in.
I love it. You caught the bug early. Was ring announcing kind of always the plan? Like, it doesn't really sound like you had a solid plan, but for the lack of a better word, was ring announcing always the plan, or is this kind of like an evolving, stepping stone to maybe getting in the ring full time?
Right. So, ring announcing was not my first plan. I originally wanted to be a wrestler. I thought that I was going to be so great as a wrestler. I did training for about 3 hours and decided I was done. That was the first and last time I stepped in the ring to try to pursue being a wrestler. Now, since then, I have had a wrestling match, which was a very spontaneous decision of mine that I do regret. But, you know, we all make mistakes, so that was definitely one of them. Felt that
I
in my
love
back
it.
the next day. But no, so after after I realized wrestling was not gonna be my thing, I just kind of stuck with ring announcing, and it's got me places.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the places you've been, just in Georgia alone, WrestleMerica, Southern Honor. I mean, you're doing it on the independent level for sure.
Yeah.
In Georgia. What do you enjoy most about being a ring announcer? I know you dabble maybe in a little bit of like backstage correspondence work for some of these promotions as well, but focusing on ring announcing, what do you love most about that?
Love being in control. But not only just in control of like how the show's running, but I get to be the fans look at me for how they need to react to said person coming out of the curtain? Do we like him? Does she seem like she likes him? I like being I'm gonna say voice of reason, but I'm not sure if that's the right thing. I like being the person they look at to see how they should
Right.
be reacting.
Okay, I like that. Now, to kind of like dig into the nuts and bolts of ring announcing, because not many people do. It's one of those positions where if you do it well, you're almost forgotten in a sense.
Right.
You know, you're like a referee in that way. How do you prepare before a live show? You know, vocally, mentally, emotionally, like that's a lot of work.
Right. So, recently I'll go to the gym and just let I normally listen to like Eminem or 3 Days Grace, honestly. I blare it in
Love
my
it.
AirPods and I'll just do like a little full body workout, little 1, 2 exercise per body part, just to get my blood flowing really good. And then on the way to a show, it's constant singing and making sure I'm coating my throat with either water or tea or however I'm feeling that day, see what I need. So like if I'm very clogged up and I feel like my sinuses are really getting to me, I'll drink some hot tea. But if I'm more clear, I'll drink water just to make sure all the mucus and everything is down. And that I'm prepared for a show. But it's honestly just a lot of singing and talking, which is what I do best.
Hey, well, we appreciate it. You're in the proper media right now to do that. Um, in your opinion, what do you think separates a good ring announcer from a great ring announcer?
Let's see. I think honestly how they present themselves. Some ring announcers, they don't dress the part, they dress very casual, maybe they're in sweatpants, maybe they're in a hoodie, and that's fine as long as you know how you want to announce with yourself. There are some times where I do a deep growl in my voice, or there are some times that I'm just speaking, but it's also a lot of knowing your crowd.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that kind of lends itself to my next question is how do you walk that line and balance the professionalism, being objective, being a neutral party, and then kind of adding your own personality, your own flair and hitting them with the Chianne Michaels effect. You know what I mean? Like how do you kind of toe that line?
Yeah, so for a long time, it was really hard for me. I didn't really know how I wanted to be as Chianne Michaels ring announcer, but I knew how all of the people who were booking me and paying me how wanted me to be. So
Right.
I would try to just be that for them, and I still do that. Don't get me wrong, but I've found that Chianne Michaels herself doesn't always want that growl in announcing. Maybe she saves the growl for a bigger name in the company or whatever. Um, but I've found recently that I like to just be very simple with my announcing. They understand more when you're not growling as much or anything like that. So, Shine Michaels is just very simple with her announcing, as I would say.
I like it. Keep it simple, stupid. That's an acronym for a reason. Um, to kind of pivot off of that, you've like you said, you've actually been in a professional wrestling match at this point. You've been a part of storylines and on-screen roles. How different is that from announcing, and how hard is it to step out of your comfort zone like that?
It's completely different. Announcing is very, I would say, easy, but it depends on who you are and how you handle certain situations. Announcing can be very, very stressful. I thought announcing was super, super stressful until I had to step into the ring myself. Now I look at announcing like my all holy grail. It's very, very easy. It is, for me at least, after being in a position where I've had to wrestle. Wrestling is so much harder. Not only are you putting your body through so much physically, it's so much mentally to try to remember
Yeah.
all of the moves that you're supposed to be doing, remembering if you have a tag partner, what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to come to you, when like knowing whether to tag in or to let them keep going. Like you have to really be in tune with your partner.
For sure. And for people that don't know, can you talk a little bit, about specifically about that match that you were in?
Yes, ring announcing at WrestleMerica, we had a female performer named Hyena Hera. She came in, and from day one, she had a problem with me for some odd reason. I have no idea what started this problem. But it got to the point where she broke my glasses and she got up in my face and she was like, if you want to go, let's go. Me and Parker will fight you and stupid old Hunter James. And I was like, whoa, where did he even come from, first off? But also, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. I then sat down and thought about what I said and regretted it instantly. But there was no going back. So the following month, there was me and Hunter James in a match against Hyena Hera, and what was supposed to be Parker Lee, but turned into Bryce Cannon. Because
As it does.
Parker Lee had a concussion at the time, so he had to forfeit. But yeah, that was interesting to say the least.
I guess
Hey,
that
you.
brings.
Yeah, watching this right now. I see you. If you're enjoying what you're watching, I've got one quick favor to ask, and it only takes a second, costs you nothing, and makes a huge difference. If you could go ahead and hit that like button, maybe drop a comment. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Doesn't seem like much, but for small creators, it's everything. So let's help more people find this channel and keep the content coming. And honestly, I'm pretty sure the podcast will be really grateful. So if you're having fun, you like what you see, make it official, click those buttons, and the Fans View podcast, we'll see you next time.
I guess that brings me to this question. Have we closed the book on Chianne Michaels' in-ring career, or is there an opportunity for her to step back in the ring?
No, it's closed. It's sealed. That thing was mailed off. It's been mailed off and retired. It's in the museums.
You know what? Fair enough. We're gonna leave that alone. They say never, but I think maybe we can go ahead and say never on this one. Okay, been there, done that. I respect it. I respect it. Do you enjoy more like being yourself on camera, or do you like playing a character and kind of turning it up to 12 a little bit?
I've never really thought about it. I think I like playing a character more. I'm all over the place in real life, honestly. Sometimes, like, I could be happy one minute and the next minute I'm hangry. Like, I need food. So I'm all over the place. But playing a character does really help in the sense because I do know how I need to be 24/7. I know I need to think. So I'll wake up in the mindset of whatever character I'm playing that day, whether it's ring announcer or valet or backstage interview or whatever. I'll wake up in that mindset and be that person. So I think that helps tremendously with me.
I love it. Very method. One of your stops, one of the promotions that you're a regular for is WrestleMerica. What has WrestleMerica meant to your growth and experience in wrestling?
Honestly, everything. WrestleMerica is everything to me. I absolutely love it there. I started WrestleMerica actually 2 years ago on February 10th, so that would be today.
Wow.
I
Today,
started there. It was my very first WrestleMerica show ever, and I was very, very early in my career at that point. So I've been ring announcing for 3 years currently. I was ring announcing for very small, like very, very small, maybe 20, 30 fans, before making it to WrestleMania. At WrestleMerica, I found who I want to be style wise, with my, not only like my dressing style, but I found how I want to be with my announcing style. So, like I was mentioning earlier, the growl and the simplicity in my voice, I found that out at WrestleMerica just by going every month and figuring that out. Um, Also being at Squared Circle Action helped me figure that one out a lot too. Just getting in the reps and everything that I really needed to find who I am. But WrestleMerica has defined Chianne Michaels as a person, and without WrestleMerica, there would be no Chianne Michaels, most likely.
I love it. I love to put them over. What is one thing you think, and it could be more than one thing, but what's unique about the Georgia independent wrestling scene? Maybe compared to other places. Do you think?
Let's see. Ooh, that's like, it's very, I would say the like big unique thing difference with Georgia wrestling compared to like Arizona wrestling is like we're more southern, so we can do more southern things. You have a valet so maybe that valet is your girlfriend and some other wrestler wants to steal your girlfriend. Boom, he stole your girlfriend from you. I don't think that would fly as well in Arizona as it would here in Georgia.
Yeah, I gotcha. I can appreciate that. What's the vibe? Obviously, you've worked for some smaller independents and some bigger independents. We talked about like Southern Honor. I would consider them, kind of a bigger independent in the Georgia scene. What's the vibe like working for a smaller indie show versus maybe, a bigger production?
Being at a small independent wrestling show is what I count as more stressful. They're both stressful, don't get me wrong. Being at a smaller wrestling show is the promoter or booker doesn't always know exactly how they want want the show to go. There are things that change last minute. There are things that he doesn't, or she, the promoter, booker, they don't even know the answer to. They don't know how they want this person to be, if they really want this person to be liked, or if they want this person to be liked. They don't know all these things. But at a higher promotion, let's just say Southern Honor, as you used for an example, they know everything they want. They know that they want this guy to be liked more than this guy, so they're going to do whatever they can to try to get this guy liked more than this guy.
Right.
Now, it doesn't always work that way. Maybe the fans just completely disagree, and that's when a booker has to look and be like, hey, I have to turn my game around because obviously the fans aren't going the way that I want them to. So then they come up with a new plan. But I prefer working for both for different reasons. I prefer working for bigger promotions because it is very much set in stone. The card isn't going to change as many times. So if I write out a card and these people are going up against each other, they're going to stay going up against each other. As to where at a smaller independent show, I could write a card 4 different times and there's going to be 7 different names on it. So, but at a smaller independent show, it is more relaxed. It is the stress levels aren't as high, or anxiety, as I should say. It's not as high because there are people just wanting to have fun.
For sure. I agree with everything you said there. The independent wrestling scene especially is just the wild, wild west, no matter what state or region you're in. So it's as we kind of start to round this thing out, one thing that's very important, especially at the independent level, is creating a brand, getting your name out there, getting booked, not just regionally but across the country, overseas, stuff like that. How important is it to you to build your brand via something like social media as opposed to at the shows? And to piggyback off of that, how important is fan interaction to you just as a whole?
Fan interaction is everything. Fan interaction is having the relationship with fans puts you over as whatever you're doing, whether you're a ring announcer, a valet, a backstage interviewer, whatever it is, a wrestler, a referee. Having those relationships with the fans is everything, because you're now going to stick out in that fan's mind as either whether it's a positive or negative interaction with the fan. You're either going to stick out as, oh, she was super, super nice, so I really, really like her, or, oh, she was super, super mean this day, I don't really like her anymore.
Yes,
and it
absolutely.
like it means everything. And speaking as a fan, it just means everything, because I know there are some people who I've met where I'm like, oh, I don't like the way he just spoke to me, I don't like him anymore. And that'll go on until either we discuss how that conversation went or whatever happened. And it happens on camera, behind the scenes, walking through a locker room or walking through a crowd of fans. It's just the fan interactions are everything. And building your brand on social media is something that definitely I need to get better at. Posting more, showing the fans that I'm also human. I'm not just ring announcer Chianne Michaels all the time. I am human. I have dogs. I have things going on. I go on vacations too. So it's very hard to sometimes think like, hey, I need to show the fans that I'm a real person too.
Absolutely. You know, I can't let you out of here without asking the two signature questions. And I tell everybody they're my favorite questions to ask because as a fan, I'd be crazy if I didn't ask. Number one is, what are you a fan of outside of professional wrestling?
Outside of professional wrestling, let's see. I am a big, like, I love watching movies. So that, and I would say really just spending time outdoors, or just doing something fun. I'm always looking for something fun to do. I love doing fun things, whether that be with family or friends, or my partner, how, like, whoever is in the situation, as long as it's fun, I don't care. I just love being and having fun.
I love it. Last but not least, my final question. How do you, obviously at this stage of your career, you're grinding and you're a young woman, you've got the world is at your fingertips. At this stage of your life and career, how do you define success?
Success is failure. Essentially that's all it is. You either learn from the mistake or you beat yourself up about it. There have been plenty of times where like, I failed at something and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I failed. Why should I do it? Obviously I failed. I can't do it. But it's trying again and trying to put yourself in a different mindset. Maybe it was the mindset that made me fail. Maybe it was something so small that I could have changed that it could lead me to success. Maybe I said a word wrong, and if I didn't say that word wrong, maybe that big company that was sitting in the crowd that I didn't know would have liked me more.
Right.
It's very just, failure is success.
I love that. That is a very unique answer, and for somebody that's been doing this for a couple years now, and I ask that question to everyone, it's hard to get me with a unique one, but I
Right.
like that. Chianne, this has been so much fun. Hopefully, we'll have you back on in the near future. Where can fans get a hold of you on social media? You said you're working on that a little bit, so we'll help you here. Where can fans get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Chianne Michaels. I think it's Chianne_Michaels. And then on TikTok, it's Chianne.Michaels. I'm trying to post more on there, but yeah, you can always follow there. You can see gym pictures or a random song I've been listening to lately. I'm currently doing Wrestling Shirt Wednesday, where I wear a different wrestling shirt every Wednesday while I do life activities.
I love it. And where can like bookers get a hold of you if they want to like get you on their show or things like that?
Yeah, you can DM me on Instagram or message me on Facebook, and I'm checking those daily, every day. I also have my email in each of my bios on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, so you can email me as well.
Awesome, awesome. And do we have any upcoming dates, on the horizon?
Let's see. I have February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. I'm at For Love of Wrestling at WrestleMerica.
Okay.
Um, February 15th, I'm at Deep South Wrestling in Atlanta, Georgia. And the following weekend, Friday, the 20th, I will be in Royston, Georgia at Squared Circle Action. And the 21st, I will be at Southern Fried Championship Wrestling in Monroe, Georgia. And that following Sunday, I will be at the Georgia Wrestling History Awards.
Man, they keep you going. I love
They
it.
sure do.
Nothing like a full calendar. Well, Chianne, like I said, this has been so much fun. Hopefully, it's the first of many appearances on the show. Guys, make sure to go show Chianne some love. It doesn't cost you anything to go follow her on socials. Go check out Wrestling Shirt Wednesday. Go check out the gym pictures. Go check out everything, and just go show some love and support. Like I said, it's free 99, and if you're in the area and so inclined, go check her out at a wrestling show and tell her she's doing a great job. But until then, guys, most importantly, above all else, make sure to call your mom.
If you haven't liked or subscribed, you're going to be joking me.